Elijah Muhammad, originally named Elijah Poole, was born in Sandersville, Georgia on October 7, 1897, only 34 years after the Emancipation Proclamation. His father was a sharecropper and a preacher who exposed Elijah to Scripture, sparking his interest in religion. Elijah attended school through the 4th grade, at which point he was forced to join his parents as a sharecropper to support his family. At age 20, he married Clara Evans and moved to Michigan to escape the violence of Georgia, where they had 8 children. Elijah Muhammad had much reason to leave his home state of Georgia. During his teenage years, Elijah saw 3 of his black friends lynched at the hands of a white mob. This violent encounter served as a trigger event in his life and the origins of his desire to become involved in his cause, black civil rights. In 1931, he attended a speech on Islam and black empowerment. It is here that he met his mentor and the founder of the Nation of Islam, Wallace D. Fard. Under Fard's mentorship, Elijah grew as a leader, and when Fard was forced from Detroit and went on to Chicago to establish a second temple, Elijah assumed control of the Detroit temple, Temple No. 1. When Wallace Fard disappeared in 1934, Elijah became his successor and the official leader of the Nation of Islam and its 2 temples. Here we see Elijah's transition from follower to leader. This illustrates Ago's notion that effective followership is a prerequisite for effective leadership. The Nation of Islam is a religious black empowerment group who identify themselves as Muslims. Its mission is to teach and empower black people through the knowledge of God and themselves, to put them on the road to self-dependence with a superior culture than what they have experienced. The goals of the organization are freedom and equality of justice and opportunity, as well as the establishment of a separate territory for African Americans. Under Elijah's leadership, the Nation of Islam flourished, establishing 75 centers across the country. Elijah used his vision, interpersonal skills and influence, ability to communicate enthusiasm, organizational talent, and leadership to recruit several prominent figures, thus furthering his goals and the aims of the Nation of Islam. Kelly notes all these traits as prerequisites for effective leadership. Among these individuals was Malcolm X.
And even the worst critic of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, though it hurts their heart to do so, has to admit that he has made better people out of those of us who follow him, better than we were.
Malcolm X became a leading figure, taking the initiative to establish 3 more temples across the country. This initiative to further his organization demonstrates that he was a star follower, defined as one who demonstrates initiatives and facilitates the needs and interests of peers, leaders, and organizations. However, when Malcolm X learned of Elijah's relationships with his teenage secretaries, in direct contradiction of Elijah's own teachings, Malcolm became cynical of his leader and left the Nation of Islam. This violation of honesty destroyed their relationship, as honesty is a requirement for leaders and followers. By voicing his objections to his leader's hypocrisy in the face of extreme violence and death, with no guarantees of safety, Malcolm X personified Chalif's concept of courageous followers. In contrast to Malcolm X, another of Elijah's followers, Louis Farrakhan, demonstrated how followers can remain supportive of leaders in the face of adversity. Farrakhan held on to his view of Elijah Muhammad as an authentic leader, and as such was able to make sense of his seemingly contradictory actions. Lipman Blumen notes that the sense of authenticity stems the corrosion of cynicism. Farrakhan went on to lead the Nation of Islam after Elijah's death, continuing to carry on Elijah's work and preaching. In this way, Farrakhan represents Kelly's conformist follower. From this, we have learned that leadership is a bidirectional relationship between leader and follower, with sometimes dramatic consequences. Although both Malcolm and Farrakhan were exposed to the same leader, they responded in different ways, and as such had entirely different relationships with their leader. The Nation of Islam was at its peak when the relationship between Elijah Muhammad, Louis Farrakhan, and Malcolm X was strong. When it soured, the Nation of Islam declined in more ways than one.